This Thanksgiving, I want to challenge you to be more understanding, to have more gratitude. And when you get into a conversation with someone who thinks differently than you, instead of arguing, ask them why they feel that way. Show some respect. Show some gratitude. Ask them why they feel that way. Listen, that's interesting. I kind of think about things different, but I want to understand where you're coming from. Can you tell me why you believe that? And just shut up and listen. What's up, my friend? I'm health expert Ted Rice, and I'm coming to you from Bangkok, Thailand. In fact, I just finished a Thai boxing lesson just a couple hours ago, and I am on top of the world. So fired up for this episode today because I'm going to be sharing with you just what I'm grateful for about Thanksgiving. So if this is your first time listening to the show, Legendary Life is all about clearing up health and fitness confusion by breaking down science-based information on how to lose fat, prevent disease, and live a longer, healthier life. So if that's what you're interested in, then you're in the right place. So go to legendarylifepodcast.com/review to leave me a review if you're enjoying this podcast, and hit the subscribe button on wherever you listen to podcasts so that every time one of my episodes goes live, you'll be the first to know. Now, today's going to be a bit different. I've been doing a combination of Real Talk Fridays. I've been doing along with a Friday Q&A. I hope you've liked both formats, and I would love to hear from you either on social media. You can hit me up on Twitter. Just type in Legendary Life Podcast or Ted Rice, TEDRYCE, or Instagram are the two places I'm active. Don't bother reaching out to me on Facebook unless you join our private Facebook group, because I won't answer you. So many people add me on Facebook. I don't add anybody anymore. So this is going to be a gratitude episode. So if you want to hear a little bit more about who I am, what I'm thankful for, some of the travels that some of the things I've learned from traveling in Asia for the past 2 years. So I'm going to be talking about some personal stories. And I want to tell you this, when I do these things, it's not about me sharing pointless stories. I always want there to be a lesson that you can take away. Now, I'll be entertaining, but I really want you to take lessons away from what you listen to. I want to have this podcast as something that will improve your life, something that will shift your mindset into something more optimistic, more happy, to pump you up, to inspire you. That's what this is really about. So without further ado, I want to dive into it because this week rather is Thanksgiving week. Although this episode will go out on Friday, today is Tuesday, at least my time. It's Tuesday morning. That means it's your Monday night. And Thanksgiving is this week. And I'm not going to be there for my dad this Thanksgiving. And that's because it's turned out that way. It's just gotten so busy with work, and we have so many people who've joined the group, the coaching group, and a few other one-on-one clients who signed up. And we're trying to also grow at the same time. It's just, I can't afford to make that flight back. So I'll be seeing him in time for Christmas. And that's the first thing that I want to share with you is I'm so thankful that I have my father in my life. And I'm so thankful, so grateful for my relationship with him. If you know anything about my story, you know the tragedies that I've been through. So you know that my mother was mentally ill and committed suicide. Although I say it was a car accident, there was no other person involved. She ran into a tree and late at night one night. And, my brother was kidnapped and murdered when I was 19 years old. My sister committed suicide about 6 years ago. And 42 now, in case you're wondering. So that was back when I was 36. I'm saying that because those of you who've been listening, like, yeah, Ted, yeah, we know, we've heard it once or maybe too many times. But for the people who are new to the show, that's the Cliff Notes version. But what I want to tell you is that my father, I talk about myself and what I've been through, but my father went through that too. He lost his daughter. He lost his son. And I got to tell you, I'm so thankful to have him in my life. And he's so thankful to have me in his life. And although our relationship has been very rocky, especially when I lost my stepmother too, but I can't really call it a tragedy, to be honest. It's a story for another time. But I really got my father back after she passed away. So we just have this beautiful relationship, and he supports me so much. And I got to tell you, I had to work hard to make that relationship work. And when I say work hard, I had to become a different type of person. And because of me becoming the type of person who went off to Asia for 2 years and went online and had all these crazy adventures in Vietnam, in Malaysia, in Hong Kong, in Thailand, in Bali, Indonesia, and all the other places that I've been, Costa Rica, because I became a different person, a better version of myself, I have a better relationship with my father. And so I'm so thankful for him and his support. And I'm thankful for myself that I had the courage to step up and make things happen. Because so many of us stay stuck or way too long. And I've been stuck. For those of you who were listening when I was in Miami Beach, I was stuck for a long time. I would come on the podcast and I would sound happy because I was doing the podcast, but then I'd go back to a job that I was no longer passionate about. In fact, it was the opposite of passion. I really couldn't stand training the millionaires and the celebrities in Miami Beach. Not that there was anything wrong with them. It wasn't right for me anymore. When I first got into it, when I was 22, it was a dream come true. But fast forward 20 years of doing that, it was just eating my soul away. So I'm thankful for, I guess, whatever sort of combination of environment, of friends, of support, of mindsets, of all the mentors that I've had, of all the coaches that I've hired that helped me make the transition. And I'm thankful for my wife, Giselle. Without her, I would not be here living my best life, traveling, the incredible experiences. I mean, I can't even share with you. I don't have time to share with you. So many incredible breakthrough moments, so many people we've met, so many learning lessons. And that's why I love taking these Real Talk Fridays to share some of that to you. And I'm so grateful for her. She would not be here without me, and I would not be here without her. You listen to me and you think Ted's the man in Legendary Life. He's the person who's really makes it happen. And that's not true at all. I'm just the guy who hops on here and shares with you and interviews people and coaches people. But with Giselle is the foundation. I'm just kind of like the nice coat of paint and the nice architectural design, but without Giselle, who is the foundation of everything here. And if you're in the coaching group, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know that Giselle is way more active in doing things with this podcast than you probably realize. So thankful for her. And I'm thankful for you. Without you coming back and listening to this podcast, I'll say it like this. The podcast is the foundation for everything good that Giselle and I have in our lives right now. Our coaching group, the foundation is the podcast, even though probably only half the people in the coaching group come from the podcast. The other half come from Facebook ads and from other places, referrals. So I'm so thankful for you, the listener. Karen, so thankful for you. Bassie, so thankful for you. John, so thankful for you. Rich Rivers, so thankful for you. Sarah, so thankful for you. I'm trying to think if I'm leaving anybody out. Some of the people don't listen to the podcast. It's so funny to get them in there. And then it's like, anyway, a little bit of a tangent, but so thankful for you. And if you've ever bought anything from me or been part of my programs or even used one of my codes to get a discount, even though you're getting a discount on the product, whatever product we're promoting, you get a discount on it, but it does give us a small amount of money that helps run the podcast. So if you've done that, I am thankful for you. And I've got to do this because I don't think you realize that Legendary Life isn't Ted and Giselle anymore. We've got a team of 5 people, including Giselle and myself. So I'm so thankful for Marco. Marco, thank you so much for being the virtual assistant that we've needed so badly. You've helped us step up our podcast. You've helped us step up our social media. You've helped us step up our coaching group. And Stan is our audio editor. So thankful for you, man, and all the back and forths and sharing the episodes late sometimes and you doing your best to accommodate us. I'm so thankful for you, man. Really appreciate you, Stan. Stan the man. And Honeyzell is the person who does the show notes for the podcast. And I'm so thankful for you, Honeyzell. I've never thanked you before, but I wanted to thank you on this. You'll be doing the show notes. And so I wanted to make sure that you heard this. And I want you to know, if you are a listener of the podcast, that you're supporting these people. We want to hire a bigger team. We want to pay people well. We want them to be happy. I want to be the leader that I wished I had when I was working in some of the other jobs that I felt like I didn't have a good leader. And so by you helping this podcast, giving reviews, sharing the episodes, buying the products when we have a promotion and give you a discount, being part of the coaching groups, you're supporting not just me and Giselle, but you're supporting 3 other people who work hard. And you're helping me help them by providing an opportunity for them. And the bigger this podcast gets, the more work I can give them, the better I can pay them. And that's how business should be run. So I'm so thankful for my team. And the last thing I want to talk about, and I'll share a little bit, I don't want to have this episode go too long, but I'm thankful for being an American. I am so proud to be an American. And you may, if you're American, I know we have UK listeners and you're probably rolling your eyes, or Australian or Canadian listeners. Most of our listeners are from America, actually mostly from California. We see the stats. We're in this age where we get stats on everything. So we see, don't freak out too much. It's not like we know where you live or anything personal about you. We just know where you're listening from. I'm thankful for being an American, and so many Americans are not proud of being an American. They're not happy to be an American. And why is that? Because we're at each other's throats. We fight over, transgendered bathrooms and Black Lives Matter and Me Too and the crazy liberals and the idiot right-wing people, and we're at each other's throats. And one thing that I've learned getting away from the American environment, because I've lived abroad for 2 years, is that we think our country is such a mess because there's so many loud voices on social media. If you talk to people in person, and what I want you to know is that just by the very fact that you can criticize Donald Trump, if you're on the left of center, or maybe you were criticizing Obama, right? If you're right of center, or you just criticize everybody because you're a criticizing person, you're fighting for things, you're trying to push for certain rights or whatever it is that you believe in. The reason it's so noisy in America is because we can do that. Because I've been to countries that aren't democratic. If you're in the kingdom of Thailand, you can't talk bad about the king. You will go to prison. Imagine that as an American. I know the value of freedom of speech. I can't say whatever I want here. There is no white privilege here, okay? You go outside of America or Western countries, if you're in Asia, none of that privilege that exists in other countries exists. None of that privilege that exists in America exists anywhere else. People can't say what they want because they'll go to prison. In Vietnam, you can't criticize the government. You will go to prison. If you're in China, mainland China, you can't criticize the government. You will go to prison. And we're not talking about, well, you're going to spend a week or so in prison, make you rethink things. No, you're going for 10 years. And it ain't American prison where you get cable TV and a gym to work out in. These places are harsh. And there's a lot of oppression all over the world. There's a lot of sexism all over the world. There's a lot of racism. You think Americans are racist? Oh, you've got no idea. Asia is just, it turns everything you think you know on its head. I'm so grateful after experiencing all that for being an American and being from a country and a culture that values communication and standing up for free speech and being able to talk about things without fear of retribution. I don't know if you know who Alex Jones is, but he's a conspiracy theorist on the right, on the political right. And he's always talking about how there's all these conspiracies and the elites and all this other stuff. And I remember watching a cartoon movie. It wasn't really like it's not a child's cartoon. It was a movie that was done, I should say an animated movie. And Alex Jones was, preaching his conspiracy stuff through a megaphone, right? And then this black van pulled up and hit him on the head, knocked him down, then dragged him into the van and drove off. And the truth is, if any of the conspiracy theories were true, that's exactly what would happen to political dissidents. And by the way, in places like mainland China, that's exactly what happens. People disappear. So I'm sharing this with you because I feel like as Americans, we get so into our culture that we listen to each other and we get this impression like, oh, the world is such a mess and it's a mess because of Americans and because all the terrible things Americans have done. And that's not true at all. The truth is that America is one of the beacons of light in the world. And one of my favorite movies is Gladiator with Russell Crowe. There's a part in it. So Russell Crowe is Maximus, and he is in service of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius, who is an actual Roman emperor. And Marcus Aurelius had a campaign going to conquer the barbarians of, I forget which area of the world. And so here's Rome doing this not so nice thing, right? But as Marcus Aurelius and Maximus are talking, Maximus says, I've seen most of the world and it's dark and it's barbaric. Rome is the light. And that's how I feel about America. In spite of all the things we do wrong, in spite of the racism, in spite of the sexism, in spite of all the social problems, in spite of the inequality, the economic inequality, and in spite of needing to work on all those things, America is one of the best, or you could even say, if you're American, probably the best country, which, is not exactly true, but if you're American, you probably think that, especially for a big country like America with so many people in it, right? There's some smaller Scandinavian countries that seem to really have figured it out, but there's so many people in America and we're so different in America. We have so many different beliefs in America and we've stuck together. We've stuck together as this one nation that all unites us. And I've never been more proud to be an American. And I want to tell you this, it wasn't always like that. I used to really not appreciate America. I used to look at all the bad things that we've done in the past. The Vietnam War. I've been to Vietnam. But I'll tell you, the Vietnamese people don't think much about the American war there anymore. They're thinking about the Chinese and how the Chinese are aggressively expanding. So there's a lot of people who love America out there. There's a lot of people who appreciate America out there. And we bring, for better or worse, our culture across the world. And it's a special place. In fact, I want to leave you with this one final thought before I sign off. I was talking to a Thai woman who, was a massage girl. I get massages every week, usually 2 times a week. And because it's part of the culture here, there's a relaxation culture here. But I was trying to talk to her about America and trying to explain what America is. And the way I came to explain it was America is a place where we take dreams and turn them into reality. Airplanes came from America, the Wright brothers. Roads, cars, the internet. There are so many things that have come from America. So if you're struggling to love your country, if you're struggling to love your fellow American because you really disagree with them, this Thanksgiving, I want to challenge you to be more understanding, to have more gratitude. And when you get into a conversation with someone who thinks differently than you, instead of arguing, ask them why they feel that way. Show some respect. Show some gratitude. Ask them why they feel that way. Listen, that's interesting. I kind of think about things different, but I want to understand where you're coming from. Can you tell me why you believe that? And just shut up and listen. And when they talk and you want more clarity, then you ask other questions. There's no need for you to argue because we all look at things differently. And starting to understand each other is a big move in the right direction of healing the divide in our country. So is having an appreciation for what we've done, all the good things that have come from America, and how we serve as a beacon to many places in the world. So that's my challenge for you this Thanksgiving. Give thanks, give appreciation, be grateful, be respectful. When you come up against disagreements, have a conversation, ask people why they feel that way, and listen to the answers, and be grateful that you're in a place that supports communication, that supports political dissidence, that supports these things, because most of the world is not like that. So that's all I have to say. Again, thank you so much. I hope you had an amazing Thanksgiving. I hope you have an amazing time with your family. Love you, and speak to you soon.